If by chance you are dreaming right now, wake up! Welcome to Horror Nights! Welcome everybody to Horror Nights. Tonight we got, I would say, maybe a jack of all trades here, Frank Palangi. Welcome to the show.
Hello, how you doing out there?
Doing good, and I say that because I was, people I meet, I check out their IMDb, and I mean, you've done it all. You've done cinematography, soundtracking, crew. You've acted, you've made, you've directed, you've casted. You've done it all. And you've done it for multiple films, which is great. You have a nice little resume there.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's well, I mean, when you're doing everything yourself, you got to do it all yourself. So that's how all that stuff comes up.
Yeah, but isn't that how you learn? Like, I mean, I make short films myself, and I mean, I don't go. I mean, I could do it, but there's like, I don't end up subbing out the audio. I don't end up subbing out anything. I just end up just doing it all myself. So just because I know that the movie is a learning process, I just take that time to learn whatever I'm doing. And then this way, when I pass it off to somebody else, at least I know what they're doing, so I understand what I'm looking for.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes, I don't know, sometimes you can pass it off and even pay to have it professionally done and stuff, and you're like, I don't really like it.
Yeah, that can happen too. I mean, no one's going to have the exact same vision that you're going to have.
Yeah. But as a collaboration, you can come up with something special. Sometimes, I know like people have to make money and this, but sometimes if they're just viewing it as a job, there's the passion and stuff's not going to be there. They're not going to add that extra layer that you're looking for, that's inside your vision or what you hear or whatever. Same thing with music. Like, I've been a rock artist for a lot of years, and I worked with a lot of producers, and it's great. You learn a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, it's like they, no offense, but they aren't going to put the time in that you are. Are they going to put 3 whole days in to mix a full song? I don't think so.
I mean, I guess that's the same. Like, I came kind of from the independent wrestling world, and I used to do interviews and a lot of that, and hung around that scene and went to a lot of shows and even wrestled a little bit. And it's the same kind of thing. You got the people that are out there for, they're going to go out there for their match, and then they're going home. Everything's a job. Then you got the people that just love it. They're there setting up early. They're putting in the grind, because even if they're not at the next level, they enjoy it and they want to make it better. And I think there's people in every industry that are like that. The passion people.
Yeah, and they're more approachable when you talk to them too. I was always like that with gigs. Like, when I was opening for artists and stuff, I was always like, we're getting there, like, it's say to be there at this time and this. I'm getting there like at least half an hour later, and I would be like the last person to leave. Even after everybody else left. So it's like,
that's the devotion. That's what makes people stand out in owners' minds or promoters or whatever they are. The person that's there last, the person that's doing the extra. I think that's what sticks out.
Yeah, I agree.
But what got you into film? Is that something that you've always been kind of into growing up and everything?
Yeah, my mom actually gave me a VHS camera, and she's like, you can like film yourself and like reenact movies or take your action figures and make up stories and stuff. And I was like, you can? And you can watch it after like a movie. And so ever since then, I have not stopped at all. I mean, I used to get my parents and my cousins and my friends and all the movies and stuff when I was I started at 9 years old. So I don't know what grade that was, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then I jumped to, I made a bunch of like you said, like stuff for yourself and as a kid. And then there was this thing called YouTube that came up. And it was like, what's YouTube? Oh, you can upload movies on there? Like, I could make like a movie and upload something on there. Now, at the time, they only had a 15 or 20-minute limit. That was it. You couldn't upload anymore. So my older fan films are like part 1, part 2, part 3. And it's like, no, they're the same movie. They're just in parts. That's what they used to call it.
Yeah, it's funny people don't realize it, but like even like the the restrictions on what you could actually put on YouTube in the early days was very like
Do whatever you want,
wishy-washy.
though.
So like there
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
lot of people that were like they were restoring old TV shows and stuff, putting full, 50s and 60s shows up there, but they had to do it the way you just said, so you'd have like episode 1, part 1, 2, and 3.
yeah, yep.
And it'd be like 15 minutes apart, and I'm just like, "Oh,
No commercials. It was so nice,
no," but I
but
think
that
it changed the way that people could put themselves out there because prior to that it was like, well, you have these tapes, that's great. I can show my family, I can send them in to like producers and stuff, but
nobody's gonna
how
see
do I
him.
connect it to fans?
Yeah, yeah, right. Nobody's gonna see him in the early days. Unless they're in a video store or something like that. Which I did work in a video store when I was younger, which is one of the best jobs ever.
Oh yeah, it is. I
And
worked at a Blockbuster, but
I miss those days. I was Hollywood Video.
I did that first. That's funny you say that. I
Yeah.
worked there first and then went to Blockbuster. And I actually, cultural wise, I'll say I liked Hollywood better because it was a little bit less corporate and more laid back. It had a more
Ye
California vibe.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But I used to love that for the fact of just being able to get like early screeners and all that like cool stuff, and then like Field
Yeah.
Destroy days, taking home just bags of videos because we're supposed to destroy them.
Yeah. And yeah, as soon as the new title would come in that day, they'd be like, I wonder what, oh, it's rented out. It's like, well, half the staff took it home. You know what I mean? Oh, but
But
so anyway, it started with the fan films. I treated them as like demos. Like, when you're making music, you make a ton of demos that nobody hears, but these you can at least share. So I was like, well, let me just keep making these, and these will be my practices kind of stuff,
what
because
what was the fandom on? What was the fan films
it was
about?
on Halloween and Jason and Superman and Batman, Leatherface. We did an Ace Ventura one.
Oh, nice.
I did Johnny Mnemonic 2.0 trailer, which is pretty
Ooh,
cool.
That's cool.
Fake Bigfoot, whatever he could do. I did the Project Greenlight with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. So I submitted a movie for that, and I had to do an intro and all that kind of stuff. I didn't win it, but back then it was weird. It wasn't really like televised, like you were part of it, but nobody really, it wasn't like an American Idol type thing where it was like everyone was acknowledged for their stuff. But I didn't win it, but it was cool sending
Like
in
on it
something
and part of it.
being a part of that. And then we did a short film for New York City Film Festival. These are all like 20-minute shorts, 15-minute shorts.
Yeah.
And then I got into music full time because I met a band and the record producer heard it. And it was like, remember the movie Rockstar, with the guy just literally calls him up and he's like, do you want to come audition for us? It was the same thing. It was like, this producer in Tennessee wants to work with you. We'll get the whole band. The band that I liked, the band was called Day of Fire. They were Full Devil Jacket before then, the singer. And I was like, I've always wanted to work, with Josh and those guys. So I went down to Nashville and I did that for a lot of years. And I did a little bit of film, but it kind of got pushed to the side.
Yeah, now the music's kind of taking over.
Yeah. Then COVID hit, right? And then the music kind of went away. And
Well,
it's like,
yeah,
there's nothing to do. So it's
I feel like, yes, unfortunately, COVID like kind of took away a lot of things. Like, especially being like I said, I started off in wrestling. So as soon as COVID hit, wrestling stopped. There was nobody going. There was no shows. Like I had shows lined up for months, and all of a sudden we just got cancellation notices around the block.
one after another.
Music venues, forget about it. Bands were all everything was canceled. I guess you could have gotten around. I mean, you probably could film movies because you could do anything privately.
Nobody was. There wasn't even a car on the road. You could literally go out and shoot in the street all day.
Yeah, like you could probably have gotten. Now thinking about it, because I wasn't like super into filming at the time. But if I was, I probably would have just went out and made freaking like apocalypse films all day long.
Yeah,
just gotten footage anyways because you could
probably
almost
what I should
anywhere.
did. But I was sick with it though. I was sick with it for like 6 months. and then we had a house fire, so I had to deal with all of
Oh
that and
man,
the hotels and
it's
apartments and
horrible.
then
I
everything.
was sick with COVID as well. I got it that first December of 2020.
Yeah.
I was just sick for a couple of weeks. My dad ended up hospitalized for like about a month. My wife and kid were a little bit less sick, and my mom was even less sick than that. But I understand
Yeah.
what you mean also about the house fire. I had a house fire in 2010. I was just, it was a hot summer day. I didn't think anything of it, and my fan and my laptop just stopped working. And all of a sudden, I went outside. I was smoking a cigarette. You'd think it'd be that would have caused the fire, but nah. I come back in, and my laptop was sparking up, and I was just like, "Oh shit!"
Wow.
And like what it hit on the bed was like it was almost like I don't know, like the fringe of it, but it was very flammable. So it just kind of whipped around the bed really fast. And as
So
soon as
yeah.
that happened, it just kind of engulfed. I was like, oh shoot, everybody got to get out.
Yeah.
And it did a lot of damage. We had to spend some time in the hotels and do all that in apartments, but I don't wish that on anybody. There's nothing fun about that. It's
Me
totally
either,
just
no.
I mean, granted, nobody was hurt, and that was the important thing, but, just the loss of stuff and just the devastation,
Yeah,
and and
you're shocked. You're just like it's literally like you have no mind. I don't
yeah,
it's that's how to explain it. Be like you have no brain right currently, you know?
yeah,
It's not
just kind you
there.
just you're a blank slate for a little bit,
You
it's
don't
weird.
think. Literally like I had no thoughts. Just weird, you know?
Yeah, it
But
just kinda did it all. Well,
but
that
be
must have been a real damper, though, in things at that point as, like you said, you're dealing with COVID and that at the same time.
Yeah, because I mean, I was teaching guitar lessons, and then I have a home recording studio, so all that was gone. So I basically couldn't do anything, but I saved an acoustic guitar and a computer and my camera stuff. Actually ran out with my camera stuff.
Hey, I don't blame you on that.
So a guy goes, I don't know how many months after, but I got an email and he goes, I'm with who you call it, blah blah blah, and he goes, I've seen some of your fan films. He goes, they're really good. He's like, "Do you think you'd ever do an original? If you do an original, maybe we can put it out." So this was Cinema Epoch from California. And I'm like, maybe I'm like I'm thinking like an hour and a half movie is a lot to film versus like a 40-minute short film. And how do you do that with the same cast, the same characters and all that kind of stuff? And because everyone when you're doing no budget films, like everyone's only available like a day, you know what I mean? And you're trying to
Yeah,
get
I
them
mean,
to do
you're
everything.
getting people on favors in good faith, and
Yeah.
sometimes that's great for a short film, and sometimes you can even do it with a feature, but it runs its course. And if people are like busy, it's almost you can't just go, I'm doing the film this week. It's like, well, I got to
Yeah,
make sure all my
you can't say,
freebies
I'm
are
gonna film
around.
it Saturday. Make sure you have that day free. It's like, well, and then they're like, well, I gotta work. And so I said, I guess I'm not filming Saturday.
Yeah, it's kind of
So I figured let's do an anthology. I think they're like 20 minutes a piece. We can shoot each day with a different actor just because of lack of people. Yeah, and we had the outside that I was in that was empty. We were just finishing up this. So I got some in this. So we mocked up that, like my friend's apartment, and that was my first experience to be like, okay, like if you want a movie to go to Tubi or Fossum or Troma TV, like any of those streaming platforms, this is how you need to make it. This is how you need to edit it. Okay, the titles are out of bounds. The you can't have any moments of silence because it'll get flagged. The title, like there's all these rules actually, and I'm like, oh, you can't just film and kind of do whatever you want. You want to get creative, right? Like I put the titles that originally they were like this, outside. If you got the TV, they were outside the screen of the box, and he's like, you can't do that because that's outside the safe zone.
yeah,
So I
but
had to
do
go
all the
back.
technical stuff that they want to that the TV adheres to, or the platform adheres
Yeah,
to.
because I was like, I don't want the titles just in the center. Like every movie, the title's in the center. Like let's have it show up like just weird, and I
No, it's
couldn't
in the
do
center because that's the safest part of it, and nobody has to play with the safe zone.
it. So I learned through the first 3 movies, I learned all of that stuff. They were all, trial and error and that kind of stuff. But by the time American Psychopath hit, I was like,
What was the name of that anthology film, by the way?
Lost Chronicles, Killer
Lost.
Tales, and Souls of the Damned. They're all like a unofficial like trilogy.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, they're work in progress, even though they're
Well,
on
you
a.
told me to start it when I asked you. You told me to start it the other way and go backwards. So I
Yes.
started with say cheese, but I do want to watch those because I'm like you mentioned Creep Show. That's probably like one of my favorite subgenres of like kind of horror movies is like either the short horrors or like anthologies of short stories. It's
Yeah.
because like 20-30 minute horrors for me sometimes do the exact same thing that an hour and a half horror does for me. It's just now I can watch multiple of them. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't have to invest the whole hour and a half, and I can get right to the point of things. Other movies, I want more, and I crave more, and I'm like, I wish that was a full feature. But a lot of times, I'm just satisfied with like kind of like those kind of quick shorts. I love
Kind of makes
platforms
you want
like
to watch it
Alter.
again. To me, if you like it that much, you're like, it's short and cool, so let's watch it again. You know.
Yeah, like I'm a big fan of like that platform on YouTube, Alter, just because they have a lot of short films, and I just roll through and I'll just binge watch short films over and over again because it's very quick to do. And then
Yeah.
the ones I like, I flag and I go back and watch them again because it
Yeah.
doesn't take a lot of time.
Yeah.
But like you said, you got through those, you learned your curve, and then you kept with it. Obviously, it was working. It was you were satisfied with the work you were putting out as you kept doing it.
Yeah, I knew. I mean, I knew each movie would get better, and I knew I would keep learning. And I know it's like, in front of everybody that would watch it out there. You know what I mean? So it's like it's like a double-edged sword. Some people can say this sucks automatically, but I'm like, it's supposed to be a B horror movie. It's a no budget horror movie. It's not a Halloween 2018 Blumhouse production type movie.
No, but I mean, I
But
do
that's the
think some of your
goal. You know what I mean?
well,
That is the goal, to do something like that looks like that.
I mean, in my opinion, I think some of your Halloween films were done better than what Blumhouse did with it. Just
Yeah, I know.
saying.
Yeah, I know some people don't like it, some people do, and I like the 2018 one. There's certain parts in the other ones that are okay, but I think
See,
they,
I grew up just with like I don't know.
you know,
I'm weird. I like 4 and 5. I think those are some of the best. I like
they're
Jamie. I like
scary,
that
they're
whole
dark.
storyline.
The masks are the worst, but the movies are really, really good.
You'll see, as a kid, I never looked at the mask. I just said, "Well, Michael's Michael." So to me, he was just a killer.
Yeah,
Later on, yes, you start to look
they're
at,
all
and especially
scary
even more
though.
with film,
You might
you
be like,
start to look.
"Geez."
Oh, yes. But as you get older, and especially in film, you start to look at kind of, the set, and you start to look at, well, that's what they were wearing. Well, why? And well, I mean, at the end of the day, nobody ever thought they would go past two. They gave the mask away.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be actually short anthology films of different things happening on the same night, Halloween. And then everybody wanted Michael. Everybody liked that killer. He was just as popular as the rest, so they demanded him back.
Yeah, I always thought that if they did Halloween 3 as an anthology, the Season of Witch would have been really, really good. And then the other stories that would have been tacked onto it, but if they would have thrown at least one Michael Myers story into it, I think the audience would have accepted it.
So I think what the perfect tie-in for me would have been if they had the Michael Myers mask being produced at that where they were making the other masks,
Something, yeah.
and just a little kind of nod to go, hey. But
Yeah.
nobody, I mean, because other than that, if you take away the title, I believe that movie is pretty flawless. It's a really good movie. I actually got
Yeah.
lucky over last year. I met Tom and a lot of the cast from that and got to listen to them, at a seminar talk about it. And some of their stories were just great to hear what they had to do for that film and where they shot in the middle of nowhere and just picked, the
Yeah.
most randomest stuff. Because a lot of those Halloween movies, the early ones, they had no budget. I mean, the first Halloween film was an indie film by all standards. John
Definitely.
Carpenter did his own music. He did his own stuff. Like there was things that they did that by today's basics are very low budget.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, really, really low budget, and that's what makes the film because it's real. There's no gags in it. You know what I mean?
Well, no,
They
I
weren't.
think the more practical you can get and the more realistic you can make things, not to the sense of, I don't condone obviously real violence and snuff films, but I mean when you get to practical effects and situations close to real as possible without having to using anything else like that,
Yeah.
I think it brings a sense to that film that this film is something real, like you said. It gives it something about the director and the actor, and they're making a film. There's difference because you'll see some films that get facts, so they overuse stuff
Oh,
that
yeah.
need not be done.
Or like a ghost.
But
It's literally just a guy like Michael Myers, a guy wearing a sheet.
oh, I can look at some films and be like, okay, this movie had no budget, but the story's great. And my mind will just be like, well, if this had budget, then they would have all these extra things. But the story's staying the same. It makes
Yeah.
it a good film. It makes it enjoyable.
I thought about that I was like, I was like, what do I do to show a ghost? I don't want to do like some weird stock footage or try to like mock up something or because I don't do CGI stuff. Not
No, it doesn't come out right in honestly, in my opinion, in certain like aspects. Like I said, sci-fi, it's somewhat tolerable. In horror, it just kind of looks
yeah.
weird.
So he took the sheet. I was the guy underneath the sheet. So they took the sheet, but I put a light underneath the sheet. So it looked kind of weird. It was almost like Close Encounters, like Poltergeist, like that era. And then there was a character that knocked on the door with a shotgun, and then she ended up shooting him with a shotgun. And so this ghost was the guy basically she shot. So the ghost had a shotgun and was pointing it like in her face and stuff. It was a couple clips, but I go, there's something really weird and eerie with this because it kind of looks like it's a guy in a sheet, but it just like there's something like otherworldly a little bit about it. It's like this isn't
Hey,
right.
I mean, even Beetlejuice used the sheet effect when Ghost needed to be a ghost.
That was my inspiration. I go, the colors from Beetlejuice and stuff kind of made it, and it's just people in makeup and costumes.
No, I
I know
mean,
he
and
had
that's the
background
thing.
stuff, a lot of painting stuff, but primarily, the color palette of that film was like, damn, you know.
Oh yeah, and I
Know what I
mean,
mean?
people don't realize like grading can make the difference of any movie. You can change a whole tone of a movie by changing the colors. Like I love playing with like DaVinci Resolve and just playing with colors of stuff because
All
uh,
day.
you
Yeah.
can you can just make so much different things from one clip.
I was like, so when I did my first couple of films, I was like, I like everything, and I'm like, how do I choose a color palette? Like, how do I even end on a color with this? Because there's lots, and then you can do it yourself. And I'm like, I go, that's cool, and that's cool. And like, how do you choose? So what I do now is basically, obviously, when I shoot it, you have a vision of it, but I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stick with this. I shot an alien short film, and I go, I'm gonna stick with like blues, greens, purples, and pinks. Like say cheese was deliberately I threw in a lot of pinks because I go,
Yeah.
there's no horror movie out there that uses pink, really. There's not a
No,
lot,
there isn't.
you
Not
know.
really.
So I was like, let's make pink in the reds and stuff like really prominent in this movie. Um, but the same thing for the alien thing that I shot, and I was like, so I lean more towards that when I'm using, but when I use the LUTs, it's more like, do I want to make it look older, 70s, 80s, where it's got that
That kind of 16 millimeter grid to it.
or blandness to it, so it's a little like more exposed, or do I want um something that looks like really sharp or just something that kind of like the coloring is off? You're wondering like why is the coloring off on this?
And that gives it its own vibe too. I've seen that done like a lot with analog horror.
Yeah.
Or even to make something like I said look old or look like it's shot on a different camera. Phones even right now are useful too because like I mean I use a Black Magic 4K, but
Mhm.
um I'll use my phone for other things, like, 'cause you can mimic older cameras or different styles of cameras, and you
Yeah.
can still get the 4K, whatever, and I'll just mimic it and then bring it in and then edit it in. And like you said, the light palettes, what I end up doing it is I'll film something and I'll film deliberately extra scenes, and then since I can't choose one color scheme, I'll release one version of the film, and then I'll add in a scene or two, change the color scheme, change the soundtrack, and release a separate version of the film.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea.
I've done that, or extended a release or something, or like grindhouse cuts.
Yeah. Somebody had asked me that. They're like, "Do you have any like was there stuff like on the cutting room floor and this and this?" And I go, "No, we shoot and literally use everything." It seems like every time I make a movie, I'm literally using everything I have plus like maybe a goof here and there. Because you might have a guy like once in a while, it's like he's supposed to be looking at somebody, but you didn't get it, but you just press like the camera right, and you're just talking to the actor, like getting him ready, and all of a sudden he's looking this way, and you're like, well, he's looking in the direction of the character. So let's use that little clip in the rehearsal. You know what I mean?
No, yeah,
You
I
just
get
never
that.
know.
And I guess it's almost kind of like if you're filming, just filming deliberately. I mean, if you're doing a lot of it yourself, then you, like you said, you know the vision you're going in with, you know when to say cut, you know when to, okay, we're on to the next, and you kind of like just shoot just enough.
Yeah.
Like I said, I deliberately have to make extra footage. It's not like I'm cutting away. Sometimes I make things shorter just for timing, but it's
Yeah.
nothing like whole scenes. It's just minutes or something. I was driving, I'll shorten it or cut it up. Um,
Yeah.
but like I said, I'm just still playing with stuff, but it all inspires me just to see, hey, we're in an age that if you put the dedication and have the heart, you can get it done. We don't need these $16,000 cameras and big, huge, budgets. You can do
No.
stuff with some passion and a camera, a little bit of editing skill, even no editing skill. If you want to just take your raw footage and send it up to Fiverr, somebody will give you a movie back.
That's true. Without the color grading.
They'll just give it to you flat. It'll just be flat. You can edit yourself after, throw a LUT, make it look like Batman.
That's funny. There's like,
Um,
yeah, there's a couple times where I'm like, it kind of looks cool. To me, it's kind of like black and white with this like bad coloring. And sometimes I'm like, that kind of looks cool. But I go, what if you use that for like a flashback scene? You know,
yep,
just the raw data. Because
yeah.
literally, I don't know if anybody has used the raw data, in on purpose in a movie.
No, I mean most people. It's just too
Is
flat.
it
They
yeah,
just
it's a
like
no-no, right? But I'm like, as a flashback or like somebody trying to remember their memories
it.
scrambled.
It automatically has that haze of
Yeah,
it's dulled. It doesn't pop, so it's foggy. It is it. I mean, there's something about law that's very gentle on the eyes.
yeah,
So you could watch something brutally happen, and it wouldn't be as hard or harsh if you start playing with the contrast and stuff.
yeah. So that'd be an idea. I don't know. I've been thinking about that too. There's a lot of ideas that roll around my
Oh yeah,
brain. But it's going back to the Halloween fan films and stuff. It's like, okay, like I made the Trick or Treat series, which is like a scene that didn't exist or a scene that was extra out of each movie, that what could have been sort of stuff too. So I was like, I did all the Halloweens 1 through 8, but I know the tone of each movie. So all you have to do is you have to try to replicate that. So which is a challenge too. I don't know what it's worth. Like what's worse is if you have to like
set
really nail it or do what you want and you have no clue how to do
you
it.
got to set the tone, because if you can go blank and set no tone, and then people are like, "Well, what's this movie supposed to be?" And that's the worst thing you want to be asked.
Yeah, it's like you're using greens in the original Halloween. It's like there's no greens.
I
you
don't even
know.
think the bushes he was hiding behind was green.
Yeah,
But I
just the
mean, but that's the
lawn.
thing. Like, I was gonna say like before I recently got a hold of like a Texas Chainsaw documentary, and I'm a big Texas Chainsaw fan in general, but the
Yeah, the
documentary
original.
itself came with 8 different versions of the film with 8 different grades, some VHS, some
Oh,
16
really?
millimeter, some like old. And so I watched them all, and just watching them with the different colors, it sets the tone a little bit different each film.
Yeah,
And I've seen people do that with like a Halloween. They'll take like an iconic scene and change the whole grade of it. And you'll be like, there's something not right about this. What is it? And it'll take you a
yeah,
second, but then you'll
yeah.
realize the color is wrong.
I don't think I've seen those. I've seen the 35 millimeter prints. I do like that stuff. I'm like, that's a horror movie. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, I mean if I can catch something in like even VHS format, I don't mind watching it because I think there's something scary about that grit and grime that isn't 4K that makes you wonder what is that I'm watching? Is it real? Is it this?
Yeah,
Everything didn't have to look perfect because the natural grit of the TV just blended it in.
yeah, yeah. With the scan lines, it's kind of it's like TV makeup.
Yeah, it just helped you. It's
Okay.
like the TV sucks anyways.
Uh,
They're just hoping they can see it. They don't really care what you look
yeah.
like.
Well, I seen a post of somebody's like, the original VHS release of Halloween, the DVD release, like the colors are nowhere near what they showed in the movie theater, especially now. I mean, I watched the 4K release. I think it's excellent, but it is really, really clear. There is no grit. The blue is really, really, really blue.
Where
Everything's
like,
so.
yeah, the original is almost like a darker or like a navy or some even
I
gray it
remember.
looks.
Yeah, his jumpsuit was kind of grayish
Yeah, it's like a
too.
grayish. And if you like depending on where you if you buy costumes and stuff, some places will sell it more on that gray side.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's a blue jumpsuit. No, he kind of wore a gray. Oh, it's blue. But it's funny you mentioned the grain stuff. So, um, I signed on with Bayview Entertainment, and they release a lot of movies, and they're releasing a movie sometime of mine called Farmhouse,
Oh,
and that is what you just said. So obviously, so I have a Blackmagic 12K camera, so I
yep.
filmed it on that, but my objective was to make it look like a Friday the 13th slash Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So how do you make it look like that with the layers of the grits and the layers of the intensity, the overexposure, all that kind of stuff? And the actors have seen it, but they're all like, it's probably one of your best yet, but the look of it, like you nailed. Like it doesn't look like, oh, I just put a filter on there, with all the wavy grain lines and stuff.
I mean, I think that's the fine thing. Like, I mean, when I first started, I would use these like kind of presets, and then I would be like, okay, this is cool, but then it was cool for like one scene, but then when I would watch the whole film, I realized that, a
Boring.
lot of these filters are just replicating and they're just the same. So then I end up just chopping them all up into little pieces and using almost sparingly less is more. And
Yeah.
then someone told me to just keep taking it and honestly just take whatever format if you really want to make it shitty, just keep putting it up to YouTube, keep re-downloading it, upload it again to YouTube, re-downloading it if you can put it to a VHS and then re-digitalize it back,
Yeah, you can.
if you have that access too, that helps.
I don't think I'd like it if it looks like pixeled, like the 720p pixeled. You know what I'm talking about? That kind of
Yeah,
look.
no, I know that.
I wouldn't really like that, but the graininess, you want that nice, even the VHS grain that used to be there, the film
Well,
grain
that's the
from
thing. Like
old
even
film
just
camera.
like I said, it kind of goes away with the 4K. There's that crisp clear, but a lot of the grain is like I said, even on those, it just they almost overdo it, so you got to like underdo it.
Yeah, I
Um,
shot it clean, and I did everything in post, but
yeah, yeah, everything is
the
in
scenes
post
were
too.
bright. I go, if I'm gonna do this, I think if I shoot it dark, it's not gonna work. It's got to be brighter. So I shot everything a little bit brighter.
And then brought it down after the fact.
Yeah, there was 4 layers of different types. There was like 2 grain, an exposure. There was one called like Film Look Creator in DaVinci Resolve. And then there's one that I put over the entire movie that's kind of like you wouldn't even notice it, but it's like putting the icing on the cake sort of thing. And it's like, but yeah, it's different scene to scene too. Like I changed the grain lines and stuff like that. They're not all the same. Well,
No, and
the
I
trailer's on the
like
YouTube
that.
actually right now. If you watch the trailer, you'll know what I'm talking about.
No, I like that. I like, like I said, I have this almost, it's not an obsession, but it's, I like that age look even when I'm making my own stuff. Everything gets obviously shot clean, unless
Yeah.
I have, like I said, access to an older camera, or some of these phones replicate a nice, handheld from
Yeah.
like early 2000s or such that kind
Yep.
of give it that like off put color.
Yeah.
But everything else is, like I said, I use that 4K and that comes out picture clear. Black Magics, I think, are really good. And I don't know that. I mean, on my laptop, I'm not gonna notice the difference between 4K or 12K. And people watching on YouTube, for the most part, won't understand. But I do eventually want to upgrade just because of the capabilities. But when I'm doing it, works fine. But it does come out ultra clean and clear, and it's like, okay, how can I damage this without making it look like it's purposely done?
Yeah. Yep. That's the challenge. I think it was hard, but I think with Farmhouse, I got it. And it's almost like maybe like a grindhouse little type thing too. But I think I got it through shooting music videos. I'd shot in a couple of music videos before then, and I was like, maybe I can take that kind of style. And then I remembered the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He started off making music videos, and I go,
Yep.
I think that was pretty smart to him take that style and then put that into that sort of movie. And
You
from
talking the
then,
2003 remake?
yeah, and from then, like everybody has ripped it off, of course.
They
But
have, but I mean, out of all the
it's so
remakes, I think
awesome.
if anything was remade properly, it was that version. It had, again, one of the perfect casting. That, I mean, whoever played, the guy that played the cop, the officer
Yeah.
at the time, and I forget his name off bat, but and just everybody, the tone, the color palette they used on that almost replicated the original. It was very bland, bleak, and I love the
They
wide
bleached
angle
it. They
shots.
actually bleached the film.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that, and I love, like, the wide shots you see of the farmhouse, and so,
Yeah.
you bring out the old, like, really long, wide shots, and I thought they did that great. That was one of my probably favorite movies. That and honestly, the prequel they did about that was done really well too, I thought,
Yeah, that was pretty good too. Yeah. I like both of them.
story-wise, to tie it in, but when that
Yeah.
came out, I was like, "Damn," because all the other ones, I mean, the second one was iconic because of Bill Moseley and character, but story, it wasn't really all that. Third,
No.
eh.
It's
Now we're
okay.
back to goofy with, the fourth, the next generation. You got all these different people. But then that came out and it brought back that visceralness of, oh my God, this is, 4 youths are getting slaughtered.
Yeah, actually being scared of the chainsaw again. It's like, oh my god. Oh.
And I think I got to meet this recently, the cinematographer. He was actually on sets for both of those films, the original and that one,
Oh,
which
okay.
helped too.
Oh, wow.
Which helped kind of, keep, like I said, that kind of palette and tone from getting too bright.
Yeah. Yeah, to kind of, be a supervisor or something on there, kinda just yep.
But I'm like I said, I'm really into that kind of stuff because, like I said, lighting changes sense. I'm also a big fan of Italian Giallo, and they use lighting iconically in a lot of
Yeah,
their films, bringing
Zombie
in physical lights, of
yeah,
color and
Zombie is one of
such.
my favorite.
They did great in that. All those old Giallos, and just even movies like I like Cannibal Holocaust and older, when all the directors are trying to make these exploitation films and just all against each other. It showed creativity, what people were gonna do.
Yeah.
Um,
It's funny
but
'cause, the movie I think one of the first movies I ever seen was T2, and I seen it in the
yep.
movie theater. So that's kinda where things started, and then I saw Halloween and Friday the 13th were the first horror movies, and I was done from there. I was like, these are it. Like I love these, but Aliens I watched 1,000 times. The first Alien, Alien 3 too. Um, all those films, the way they're shot, the moods. You can say what you want about each movie, but it's like each movie has a certain feel, certain character. They're all well done, even though there's things wrong with all of them. Even Alien 3, it's a very dark ass movie. It's well done. It's the soundtrack's really, really good, I think, for Alien 3. But I'm like, just because it's an alien, why can't you make a horror movie feel like this? You know what I mean?
Well, I think because it's hard because with any of those movies, to make it a true horror, people think that there needs to be a human killer or a character, and these movies end
Yeah,
up
I don't know.
becoming sci-fi or end up creature features. But in reality, it's just a different horror because of
Yeah.
the tone that's set. I would call Alien not a creature feature. I would call that more of a horror because of the tone it sets and the dread that they've used, building up to scenes and the soundtracks and everything about it. They
Yeah.
made it. They shot it like it was a horror film, not like it was a
Yeah.
sci-fi,
There's aliens in
Godzilla
it,
movie.
but it's a scary movie
Yes, the
rather
killer,
than like
they were just like at the point where, okay, there's too many slashers out there. Let's make something different be the killer.
yeah. Yeah. Rather than like even like Leprechaun. Leprechaun's a horror movie, but he's you're taking all these mythos kind of thing. Wishmaster, I've seen all of them.
Yep,
Candyman was a really good one. I think was
that's
one
one
of
of
the
my
ones to
favorite.
take, yeah, kind of a mythos kind of thing and really do
You
it
play
well.
off those urban legends and kind of get it into you. I mean, I think it even inspired the movie Urban Legends that come out where people were copycatting the real urban legends.
Yeah, and Tony Todd. I mean, one of the main things that influenced me was Night of the Living Dead. And
Yeah.
for the longest time, I didn't know that was him in the remake of Night of the Living Dead because I was young. So I was just like, oh, yeah, he looks different, Candyman. And I
I
figured it
didn't
out eventually.
I didn't
But
find that out till about 5 or 6 years ago, believe it or not. Because, like, yes, I've watched zombie films growing up, but for me,
yeah,
I watched the original one. I watched that one on probably TV.
yeah.
And then there was just a host of bad zombie movies I saw that really
Uh,
kinda turned me off from the genre. But then my friend was telling me about Return of the Living Dead, and I somehow missed that as a kid. So I watched that, and I really got into it. I dug the comedy, the whole '80s vibe. So I
yeah.
went back and started watching, Night of the Living Dead and other zombie movies again, and then I realized, "Oh, shit, that's Tony Todd in there."
He had an intensity. Like you were almost scared of him. It's like I don't know
Yeah, you
where.
didn't know if you were safer in there with him or safer with the people outside at some
Yeah.
points.
Yeah. But so Tom Savini directed that. They live about 7 hours from me. I almost wanted to go to his makeup school. That was like one of the first things when I got out of school. I was like, well, maybe I could do that. But I have asthma and allergies and stuff. And I was like, well, I'm probably gonna get sick like
Yeah.
every day. But I mean, making masks and painting and all that stuff, like I would have loved it. I would have loved it. But
Yeah, actually, I made this one not too long. Like last year, my kid wanted me to make something, so
that's
I made
cool.
this one.
That's cool. Do you have coffee grounds in there for the black?
Yeah, and I put like little pieces of rice in there. Looks like maggots are coming out the mouth and
Yeah.
such.
Yeah.
Just playing around. I love Halloween
Simple.
season because you can kind of get access to a lot of this stuff just in general access rather than ordering online.
Yeah.
And B, it's the one time a year I can just go outside and put like random body parts and stuff, and no one's gonna get all weirded out.
Yeah. It's acceptable.
I can bring all my basement out. I can be like, okay, we can all come out and play for a month. Everybody out.
Yeah.
but,
It's
but my
different when you're filming a movie too in the fall. You're like, it's accepted. You know what I mean? Like if they see outside in costumes and stuff, oh, they're just having a Halloween party, you
Yeah,
know?
you can get away with shooting so much more. If somebody's chasing somebody down the street with a knife, nobody really blinks. If I do it in May, everyone's like, okay, we got a problem here.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. I always say, I go, yeah, Halloween day is the one day where you grab a camera, you do a rogue shoot where You got a guy in a mask, and you can walk any street with a guy in a mask on, and it's okay because it's Halloween. But you film
Yep.
it, and then it
And you
becomes
just
part of
film
the
it, and you
movie.
don't film it as Halloween, and you just make sure no one else is in the shot, and he's stalking and doing all this, and then
Even if
boom.
there are trick or treaters, if they're blurry, in the background, and as long as you don't see anybody's face, they can have masks on,
Yeah.
right? But
Wow. Oh,
yeah,
especially for the Halloween remakes. I mean, you could probably film half, most of the footage from that on one night. You could be Michael Myers all day.
yeah, pretty much. That'd be
Um,
cool. I heard they're want to remake it or make a sequel or something. I've seen some posts and stuff, and I keep commenting. I'm like, I'll direct it.
Give it a chance. I've seen a bunch of fan stuff, not just of
Oh,
Halloween, but of other franchises, and I really like what fans have done with it.
yeah,
Because, sometimes these movies get out of the hands of even the directors, they get into the hands of, like, the
the
executive
studios.
producers, and they wanna see certain things that they want, and it's not the vision that anybody wanted. But the fan, they're not living behind these walls, they don't have this they can just put out a film that maybe the fans wanna see.
Yeah, I feel like if somebody did a Halloween like the Stranger Things dudes, like they are very, very passionate, but they're also fan driven oriented. So you gotta throw that in. I think 2018 was like that. I think we got the film that was, was like you said, came from fan kind of background and studio. But after then, I don't know what the heck
After
happened
then,
with
it
the
went
sequels.
a totally different direction.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what A24 does with the Texas Chainsaw franchise. I'm kinda scared in a lot of ways.
Like you said, I'm hoping it kind of goes back to the original or like the vibe the remake had,
Just that grit,
something
that
like that.
visceral tone of this. Okay, this is a tragic event that happened here. 4 people
Yeah.
were, brutally killed, and this
My
is the
my biggest
scene.
thing was with 3D when they did the flashback sequence and like, oh, it's taking place right at the end of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm like, where's the grit? I go, it's
Yeah, it looked
completely
brand all of a sudden, it's like
clear.
brand new. It's like Dorothy opens her eyes and she's in color. It's like, "Wait, what's going on here?"
I mean, they built the house, the costumes were the same, the coloring was sort of the same. I go, they go to great lengths doing all this stuff. Bill was in it, everything, and it's like, uh, it doesn't look like it. It does not look anything like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. At least put a dirty filter over it.
Yeah, they could have at least
Just for the
did something.
beginning, just for the beginning, because I was like,
That
that's the
first scene.
biggest. That was actually ticked me more off than the movie itself. I was just like, that pisses
The
me off.
continuality wasn't there.
No.
Well, now let me see. Was that your latest film, Say Cheese?
Yeah. Yep.
Now, I have to say that was interesting. It caught my attention, A, because I was a big fan of well, I always liked that book, Say Cheese and Die. It was an old R.L. Stein book. But
Yeah.
it got me into the idea of cameras being almost evil and what you filmed on a camera would be. I believe Twilight Zone touched on it too, a camera that would take the pictures of the future.
Yeah. A little
And
bit.
I've seen
Yep.
other things where just cameras always play, something evil, like the movie Shutter. You see things that you're not supposed to see. And
Yeah.
I thought it was just really a unique film again, where you use something that was almost an ancient technology at the time. It was this
Yeah.
weird camera. It had weird kind of rules, like you had to fill it before you could empty it. And
Yep.
just all of this, and just, it's shot. And I loved how it kind of like, even like the beginning, like, the guy, he's like, I think he has COVID. He's like, COVID's really bad right now. It might be COVID. And he's just like, I just want to eat. And, like, he tries and he just can't, and I'm just like, "This is
Yeah.
good. This is
You can
good tension. This is keeping me
barely the
entertained."
spoon's going. I just
It's
want to
some
eat.
it's something I haven't seen before, so it keeps me engaged. I watched a lot of horror, so sometimes things look similar, so I'll kinda tune out those parts. There wasn't anything in that film that kinda was like that was reminiscent of anything. Everything was just kind of fresh. I like that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's something I haven't heard actually. Well, that's cool. Well, the beginning of the movie too, I go, people are either really gonna like it, they're gonna think it's really, really clever, or they're not gonna like it. Because the first 20 minutes is literally one take.
Yeah.
One take, the camera does not move for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is.
So you see them keep coming in the same way and everything.
Yeah, and they're like, like the first one too, you're like, the camera didn't cut. You know what I mean? What the hell?
But sometimes I like that. I mean, sometimes you need that because it gives an almost of a real sense of what I'm watching might be real. Because if you see a lot of cuts, that's great, but then it becomes cinematic and it becomes
Yeah.
really cinematic. So
I
now you see,
wanted it real too. I wanted because I know so the actress, she's the main actress in American Psychopath. I worked with her a couple times and I go, we actually so I was a serial killer and she was like the lead girl, but I go, we haven't really acted together in like 10 years as far as like a short film or anything. I go, but we have this chemistry and stuff. I go, this is what I want to say. These are the 4 scenes. These are like, I just wrote down like abbreviated notes and I go, let's improv all of this one take.
yes.
And it's the same shot for 15 minutes. And she's like, let's do it.
So they just went back and forth, kind of that all that dialogue in the beginning, the husband-wife dialogue, the boyfriend or whatever, the soup, everything was just kind of just all go with the flow, and I love that though.
Yeah. I mean, the soup was planned out a little bit. The calling the doctor, I'm
The key
working
points, but
alone at work, sort of in a
yeah,
room, little teeny things, but everything
the
else is kind of,
conversation was just all very natural, and it felt natural. Like I said, it felt realistic. That this might have been something that was happening.
yeah,
And then I thought back, and I could remember the early days of the pandemic where people were really sick, and there was this fear. I'm like, shoot, this could be like that, and it gave almost an anxiety to it, where like I was like, wow,
yeah.
okay. Because
Somebody
that was a
said,
scary time. I worked in with the public, and all of a sudden we're being told, you got to either mask up, this, that. It's like
or yeah, get
we,
out, right?
we don't know what's going on here. Nobody knew what was going on. And so everybody was in this kind of state. I had, my wife working and teaching, my kid in daycare. I'm like, okay, everybody's a target here of this thing. If we
Yeah,
weren't doomed with viruses before with these people in the public schools, now I'm definitely getting sick. But that kind of brought that, and again though, but it incorporated the camera, and the camera kind
yeah.
of just
Anyone
kept
can
it.
be a victim with that camera. You take a picture, you're gonna die pretty much,
And I like
Yeah.
that though. I always like those primitive movies. Like I said, even like One Missed Call or something where something would
Yeah,
get you, and you had to
yeah.
kind of watch out for it.
I had to think of something simple because I had to film it in a month, and I'm usually filming a movie like 2 months, 3 months or something, and I'm like, I kinda have to do this fast, and I go, I don't really I don't wanna do something to downgrade things, but I go, "How can I do something clever like that?" So that's when I thought, I go, "Well, that whole scene's gonna take up, like, 15 minutes, and it's just 2 actors talking and blah, blah," but it's clever. It's not just like, "Oh, it's 2 people literally talking for 15 minutes. Let's turn it off."
No, because you don't know which way this. I mean, if you didn't know anything about it, and I mean, just the title. With besides that, but if you didn't know anything about it or read anything about it, you wouldn't know which way the movie going. This could be a beginning of a zombie apocalypse. This could be the beginning of an illness movie. This could be a pandemic movie. This could go any which way. You might not
Yeah.
be paying attention to the weird ass camera.
Yeah, but what really you bring up a thing, it's like, you take a picture, some bad things happen, people die, you're gonna die, but it's like, what happened to my character of I didn't die from it, so I wanted to show it's almost like the origin story in the very beginning of how I came to be, but what does he have? Like you said, he's kind of diseased because but what's happening to him? Is he transforming? I hinted on it, but you don't really see until if I make a sequel, really, like, I explain more,
Of what actually it did to you and how it actually changed you, and what was
Yeah,
its
and that
the real
this
symptoms.
guy really is a slave to this camera and that he is alive because of this camera. It's allowing him to live so it can because it needs a
It's the only thing
keeper.
that'll allow you to eat.
Yeah, it needs it needs somebody to take care of this camera, to transport this camera, feed me. That's the thing. He said, I just want to eat, but I'm feeding the camera.
Yeah.
So the
No, I
camera's
get
taking
that,
everything,
and
you
I
know?
like that,
And then the other thing
like
I
I
thought about, I go, let's have it on every holiday. Every scene is a holiday of some kind.
that's good too.
Yeah.
Just doing different things, and I said, maybe you got negative feedback, positive feedback. It was one of the movies that I watched. I enjoyed. I
Every
still have a
so
bunch.
far
I
it's
still
been
have a
very
bunch more to
positive,
watch.
actually. I was
Um,
surprised.
no, it was very nicely done. Like I said, and it's something fresh out there.
And it's only
There's
been
not
out.
a lot that's the same. Like you'll go through Tubi and you'll see something like, let's say, for instance, like Divock boxes, and you'll see like 7 movies about the same thing, and the
Yeah.
plots will all be the same. They'll just have different actors in different spots, and everything will just be almost shot the same. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay, this is trash. After the sixth one, I'm like, okay, how did these even get on here? Like, don't anybody realize this is the same film just stolen?
Or this made by the same company,
That too.
maybe.
Maybe if one don't hit, maybe one of the other five will. But no, yours stuck out, and like I said, I can't wait to watch the rest. With the school vacation, I had it the wrong week, so I figured I'd have another week to watch a bunch of films, and I did not. Now we got snow, so
Yeah.
couple
It's
more
well,
days.
I was gonna say the Say Cheese has only been out for a week and a half, and it's got like 90,000 views in a week and a half. So I'm like,
That's
that's
good.
not bad. On
No.
Tubi, that's just Tubi alone because it's on Fossum too. And
Now, do you get any of your stuff onto besides you mentioned farmhouse? Is any of the stuff I was going to physical media?
no, if I had a budget, maybe I would make some Blu-rays and do signed copies and stuff. It's on my radar. I just don't have enough funds for them
Yeah,
yet.
I get that. I'm just
So, like,
such
I
a
have 9
physical. I'm
movies
I'm a
now.
physical media guy, so I end up like I'll buy the digital, and then like I always search for the Blu-ray or hope that there is one
I
because
will keep you informed. Put it
keep
that
me
way.
informed. Because if you do make even a limited run of it or whatever, I would or a Kickstarter for something to do it, I would be into it just because I am a physical media person. And like I
Yeah,
said, someday these platforms will stop working or the internet goes out or something will happen. At least I got a DVD or a Blu-ray to watch and put
yeah.
in.
Yep,
Uh,
that's true. Yeah, you don't need the internet to you do
But
need
if I didn't have
electricity,
the
though.
house, if I didn't have the house fire, I'd still have thousands of VHSs sitting here.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I had everything between the Hollywood and then the Blockbuster for a year. I had so many films that came out
You had
between
stuff probably out of
2001.
print and
Oh yeah,
yeah.
because they
I
were
know what you're
just
talking
throwing stuff
about.
away,
Yeah.
and then stuff that was just either coming in for sale or limited edition or like even some of the promotional stuff. It was all just fun to bring home. Um,
Did you
but
dumpster dive?
oh yeah, dumpster was that was the night. Okay, we'd come home with bags. I would be the guy
Yeah,
to go bring it out,
yeah.
and then and 2 hours later, everybody would have their bag with their name on it, and we'd go grab it out the dumpster and go home, and
Uh,
we just sacks.
I dumpster dived and the tape didn't really work, but I had watched it before, but there was a sequel to Night of the Living Dead called Children of the Dead,
Yep.
and I was like, this is like the only copy known to man, and I had it and it broke. It didn't work. But it was one of the dumpster dive ones because, like you said, they would just
Well, see, my
literally go
manager,
whole
my
dumpsters
oh, they
VHS.
would,
Yeah.
but my manager knew this, and my manager was very friendly, so she just said, "Look, we gotta destroy these. You take what you want, you put them in this trash bag, write your name on it, throw it in there. At the end of the night, whatever you do is what you do."
Yep.
So, and like I said, we'd be hauling this stuff out. People would be divvying it up outside because, I mean, you didn't want 13 copies of Castaway.
Yeah.
But, I'd take one or two releases at least of each.
There was 120 copies of T3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, because these movies would come in and they would just take the new release wall and cut it in half.
Yeah. That's one video store. You're like, why do you need 123 copies?
And I would end up with half of them because sometimes I just take
Oh,
blind bags. And so I had this idea. Well, maybe I'll open a video store someday. 'Cause who would know that VHS would be gone in like a couple of years later?
yeah, I know, yeah.
But we are just about out of time. Do you have any projects in the works right now?
Yeah, like I said, Farmhouse will be coming out soon, and I'm just doing some music videos, some short films. There's some stuff I've acted in that's gonna be coming out too. But I'm just planning right now. I'm planning for because I'm like I have 3 movies coming out this year too, so I'm like that's a lot to deal with. I have a
Yeah.
local premiere coming up for Warren County movie. So I'm just writing. Like I could say I want to do a Sage Cheese 2, an At Death's Door Part 2, and then some brand new idea. I've got a couple written down,
Awesome.
but
Very exciting. Well, where can people find you on social media so they can follow along for all these great things?
everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can go to plangifilms.com. You get the t-shirts there at the Threadless. It's called Threadless, the stores. And yeah, just you can Google Frank Palangi, my name, and a lot of the music stuff will come up. But if you Google Palangi Films, everything else will come up.
Everything will come up.
Yeah, they're
Awesome.
on streaming on Tubi and Fossum, Troma TV. Some are the Amazon, some are like weird platforms. I don't even know what they are.
Well, as I go through them, I am going to be doing reviews. I do like little 15-minute review episodes. So I plan on doing it for most of the films I see.
Okay. That'd be cool.
Like I said, you said your earlier stuff is your earlier stuff, but I always like to see people's earlier stuff because I like to see the arc, like even like known directors of big films, you'll eventually get a Blu-ray, they'll have like their short films on. You'll see these films that are like,
yeah,
what am I watching? But you just watch this $1 million film, and it's just like this is great to see where they started and how they got there.
yeah.
I love that.
Keep in mind when you watch all of my films, they're all in the same universe. Just think about that. There's like
So everything everything is taking place simultaneously somewhere at a time.
There's hints of other things, and the only one that's not is At Death's Door. That's like its own thing. But every other movie has to do some way with either the same town or the same subjects. The idea of everybody like drinking water. So I tell this, it's not a secret. There's a little thing. All my movies, the reason why everybody kills, everything goes wrong is because people drink water. There's something in the water that is doing all of this stuff.
I love it. That's great. Well,
yeah.
Don't drink the water, folks. Remember that. Stay away from that stuff.
But you have to eventually.
Eventually, you're going to get thirsty, though.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Frank, for coming on. I can't wait to see your rest of your films. We'll definitely keep in touch about the future and see what things have. Thank you, everybody at home at watching. As always, stay spooky, everyone.